The rules are simple.
Every week, we watch a new movie.
Then, we discuss it.
Welcome to Weekly Cinema.
Hello, and welcome back to Weekly Cinema. I'm your host, McKenna Coleman, here with my co-host,
Gabe Late.
Today, we will be discussing the Maze Runner trilogy, which we both own the same Blu-ray, by the way. Fun fact.
Yeah, we learned that last episode.
Which was said in the last episode. But
yeah,
there's a lot to talk about today, so let's get into it.
Well, strap on in, get ready. I know most people listen to podcasts in the background, so again, you can find us on Spotify as well if you don't prefer YouTube. You can, check us out there. Be sure to follow us, rate us, all that stuff. Before we get into it, I don't know why we never say this, but I remembered this time for some reason. Spoiler warning, heavy spoiler warning for The Maze Runner, The Scorch Trials, and The Death Cure. All three of those movies and books, I guess, will be talked about and spoiled heavily in this. So please take note of that if you haven't seen them. I highly recommend checking them out before listening to this episode.
Hold on.
You have the books. There you go. Maze Runner, Scorch Trials, and Death Cure. Yeah. So,
made me cry.
I made you cry. We'll talk about the difference between the books and stuff too. I'm interested about that. But anyways, today we're gonna be talking about the Maze Runner trilogy. We're gonna be talking about the Maze Runner, the Scorch Trials, and the Death Cure. It is another movie marathon. I love doing these. These are really fun.
It's so fun. It is so
fun. Yeah. Next week we'll finally be back to just one movie, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I love doing these. Really great. A lot to talk about. It's gonna be cool. So yeah. Again, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to Pixel Pug. Follow us on Spotify, and let's get right into the episode. All right, so those three movies we're going to be talking about in conjunction with each other today. I'm going to look up that word because I want to make sure I said the right word. A word used to connect clauses or sentences. Okay, yeah, in conjunction. Okay.
In conjunction.
I had to look that one up. Okay, anyway.
You're using big boy words, Gabe.
Some big words being used in the podcast today. Word of the podcast. All right. Anyways, take it away.
All right. Okay. I'm sorry. So, The Maze Runner, directed by Wes Ball, and by the way, all these movies are directed by the same person. It's not switching throughout this entire thing. But The Maze Runner, The Scorch Trials, and The Death Cure were directed by Wes Ball. The first one, Maze Runner, was released on September 19th of 2014. The Scorch Trials was released in 2015 on September 18th, and The Death Cure was released on January 26th in 2018.
Sweet.
And who's in this movie, by the way, if you didn't know? Dylan O'Brien, who plays our main character, Thomas. We have Ki Hong Lee, and I apologize if I said his name wrong, because I don't know how you say that, is Minho. Kaya Scodelario, or I probably botched that too, Teresa. Thomas Brody Sangster, which I got into a little bit in the last episode. Thomas is not Thomas, unfortunately. He plays Newt. Dexter Darden, Frypan, Will Poulter, Galley, and it goes on and on. I'm not going to name everyone, but those are our main people there. And we do meet some new characters along the way. So
yeah. But yeah, that is the basic bunch that you see throughout the entire Maze Runner trilogy. So the quick plot synopsis to refresh your memory if you haven't seen the movies in a while. The three movies are like direct sequels of one another. They all take place. They're just one big story split up into three parts. But, of course, they all take place in different, circumstances, plots, all that stuff. So the first movie, obviously, takes place in the maze, and it follows Thomas as he arrives in a glade at the center of a giant labyrinth. Like the other youths dumped there before him, none of them have any memory of their previous life, and they quickly become a part of the group, and soon after demonstrate a unique perspective that scores him a promotion to be a runner, which is people who get to run into the maze and try and scope it out. So together, and then with Teresa, who comes in later with, no memory either, the only female, they try to convince everyone that he knows a way out of the maze. And obviously, the entire movie is them trying to escape the maze. They escape the maze. Then they go to the Scorch Trials. The Scorch Trials is a movie that takes place with them being still trapped by Wicked. It's another trial for them to cross the Scorch, which is like because the world has been destroyed by the sun, like a solar flare or whatever, and there's a deadly virus and all that stuff. That's the whole concept of this movie, is that everyone is trying to find a cure. That's why they're in the mazes. I don't know. The lore goes deep, but if you don't know it, I recommend studying up, because it's definitely can't just go through all that. That's for sure. It'd take a long time. But the Scorch Trials is, yeah, it's just them trying to escape the grasp of Wicked. Of course, they end up doing that. They meet some new people, some other, what do they call them? What do they call the people who are, you know what I mean? They call them something. I forgot what.
The immune people?
Not the immunes.
Oh,
They
cranks?
call cranks. That's it. Yes, they meet some other
I was
cranks,
like,
and
what are you talking about?
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, 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 yeah. So they escape Wicked, but then of course that's not enough, because Wicked is gonna still keep doing their thing. So the last movie, The Death Cure, takes place.
That is, by the way, just saying.
Yeah, takes place as the final in the series. At least for the movies. I know there's more books, but we're not gonna get into that.
I haven't
But
read the other ones. I read the main three. I haven't read the prequels, but I have read Crank Place, and it also made me cry. But we're not going to talk about that.
Interesting. Wow.
But yeah.
Yeah, that one is that the Death Cure is them. Just the big thing is they're trying to take down Wicked, try and find the cure, and of course, spoiler alert again, the end of the movie, Newt ends up dying, Teresa ends up dying, and Thomas barely makes it out alive, and they end up finding the cure, which is Thomas's blood. It's just his blood, that because he is immune, and his blood saved that other crank, Brenda, and they didn't think that was possible because all the other trials were not working. But they found out it's because Thomas's blood is special, and it actually just straight up destroyed
So
the
actually,
virus.
I saw a theory, and this is going to be a heavy, heavy spoiler. And I know we're already getting into that stuff because you said this person dies, this person dies.
Yes, yes.
But I did see a theory that at the end of Death Cure, which is the last book, last movie, when Thomas is on the Berg and they're going to the safe haven, that he actually does not make it and dies from his open blood wound, and that it's just a dream that he's in the safe haven. And that's like
Interesting.
the version of heaven, kind
Well,
of.
that is a devastating theory. I really hope that is
Yeah,
not the
I mean, I
case.
heard that, but I
Wow.
don't.
Yeah, that's an interesting theory. I mean, of course, there's really no way to prove that unless you, I guess the other books tie into it or whatever. But yeah, that's interesting. That's strange. I mean, this what I like about this series is, and we'll get into like the likes dislikes, of course. But what I like about the series is that it's full of plot twists, and you never really know what to expect. Like, I think one of the biggest plot twists that I didn't expect, because I was rewatching the movies, and it's been so long since I've seen them. I've only seen them once before this. This was my second time ever watching them, and I only saw them when they came out. So a lot of stuff was surprising to me still, because I was like kind of watching it for the first time again. But when I saw that Gally was still alive, came out of nowhere,
Oh yeah,
that blew
oh
my
yeah.
mind.
It's just
I did
like
not expect that.
I had jaw dropped when I saw that the first time. Just
I
like
know, I know, I know.
he
There's
got impaled in the chest, and you're still alive.
I know, it's crazy. I don't know how that happened, but
Man,
interesting stuff. Yeah. I mean, there's moments in there that I'm like, oh, I know this is coming up. It's like when you're rewatching a movie, there's those key big moments that you just don't know how it gets there. Like, of course, I knew that Newt died. I knew that Chuck died. I knew all those big moments, like, the twists and stuff, but I did not remember those little details. And, watching them again, it's just like, wow, I completely forgot about that. But yeah, great movies. Very, very great movies. And as we will talk about right now with our reviews. So we're going to do this like we did with, what's the other movie we did this with? It wasn't,
Batman.
yeah, it wasn't Knives Out because those are two different movies. But
No, I said
Batman,
Batman.
yeah, Batman is the other long story. So we're going to just treat this as one big movie and rate this series as a whole out of 10. Thumbs up, thumbs down. So, McKenna, you go first.
Obviously, I have controversial opinions for each of the movies, but as a whole, I'm going to have to weigh it. Because, unpopular opinion, the second one is the most boring to me. I'd say the third one is the best, and then the first one, obviously, that's in the middle. But they're all great. I gotta think about this. This, I think, I'm gonna give the series as a whole like an 8.5 to 9.
Okay, 8.5 to 9.
It's not quite a 10. Scorch Trials drags it down just a bit
Okay,
because
that's
there's a
fair.
lot of like dead time with them just walking and the scorch, and it gets repetitive. But
Yeah, yeah, there's a
it
lot of
is a
dead
great
space in that movie.
series,
Yeah.
and it does tug deep at the emotions later on. So I think it's above halfway. So I go 8.5, 9 out of 10, and I'm not gonna disobey the rules. Thumbs up. I
Yeah.
recommend.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, so I agree. I actually really agree. But I'm gonna switch two of the movies. So I'm gonna say my favorite movie out of the three was The Maze Runner, the very first one. I don't know why, but that original premise beats anything else the series did in the long run. I don't. I love those type of movies where characters are put into a situation that it's like really, really strange. They have no idea how they got there, and it's a super like unknown environment. So like being put in the middle of a giant maze, and you slowly start to figure out the story. You slowly start to figure out why they're there, and then they escape the maze, and the movie ends like that. I mean that's and then that's the nice movie. I really like that movie. I would be fine if they only adapted the first movie and that's all we got because honestly, that's all I need. My second favorite is The Death Cure. I agree. The Death Cure is a nice ending to the trilogy, and it has a lot of action. I really like all the scenes in the giant wicked building. That it was super super cool. Them trying to infiltrate it. I love scenes like that too when they're like staying undercover. Especially that we'll talk about favorite scenes later, but yeah, I love the movies like that. But my least favorite, I agree, was Scorch Trials. I'm not a fan. Okay, controversial take.
Oh
You're
boy.
not gonna like this. But I don't like dystopian movies. They are not my thing. I'm not
Wow.
gonna lie. But let me explain.
Wow.
Let me explain. I am into some type of dystopian movies. I had the same problem with what was it? Hunger Games. I loved the first movie. I didn't really like the ones that came after that because I just like when it has that original premise, that original concept that is like something we would never encounter. But then when the story keeps going past that and we're just seeing, we're following the characters now and it's relying on that, I lose interest. I don't know. I just can't sit through that. Of course, the Maze Runner, they did a great job with the ending and stuff. But like, the Scorch Trials was the most, again, very controversial take, but the very slow, it was just, that was the most dystopian out of the three, I definitely think. And that is just, it's just everything that I'm not really into about a movie was the Scorch Trials. But all in all, the original Maze Runner movie is one of my favorite movies ever. It's incredible. The Death Cure is a great movie as well. Scorch Trials, not so much. So I'm going to give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. The entire series as a whole, thumbs up. I recommend it. But yeah, we'll get into that we will. There's a lot to talk about with this movie. A lot to say. A lot to cover. So let's do it.
So we are back from our little break. We're going to talk about some critic reviews on each of these.
Oh boy.
Starting with the first one. IMDb has it as a 6.8 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes has 65%. Metacritic has 57 out of 100.
What? Holy cow, Metacritic. Wow.
It just
Of
gets worse.
course.
It just gets worse.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I don't even want to read these.
Oh boy.
Scores Trials. IMDb 6.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes 48%. Metacritic 43 out of 100.
Oh my god.
Death Cure 6.3 out of 10. 42%. 50 out of 100.
All right, so clearly the critics were not a fan of these movies. And
No.
it's unfortunate because the teen dystopian movies like this, it's a very, it's a small genre, but there are a lot of good movies in it, but it's not like critical good. When you watch a movie, you can tell if the critics like it or if they're going to dislike it, but it's more for the fans. Like the Maze Runner series is a really enjoyable series, but in terms of cinema, of course, obviously, they're not cinematic masterpieces. They're not gonna be critically acclaimed. That is a lot lower than I thought, but they're gonna be low. That's the case, I guess, for honestly another genre that gets it bad is horror movies. Like every single horror movie to exist never does good by the critics. I don't know why. It's just those type of movies are not critically acclaimed, and critics hate them for some reason. I honestly don't understand. It's hard to just make, I guess, a cinematic good movie in that genre. I honestly don't know. I don't know. I wish I had an answer. I wish there was a simple explanation as to why, and I'm sure there is, but as far as I know, I have no idea. I don't know why.
Well,
It's
then I'm
strange.
about to have a very controversial opinion here.
All right, go ahead.
For my likes, I actually did put down cinematography and the
Oh, okay.
different creative shots that they did use.
I'm not gonna
Especially
lie, I
within the
agree.
first film, when
Yeah.
Thomas first gets to the glade and they do like that little spin around shot, like pan type thing when he gets up and
Yes.
then it's like spinning.
Yes, that's cool. That's really
And
cool.
the different angles they use as well. I think that makes the film a bit more immersive as well. But I really think that that's going to be a controversial thing to what you just said.
Yeah, I mean, I agree though. There was a lot of cool, what a lot of cool shots I noticed was in the Death Cure. I really liked. They had a lot of lights, like silhouette lights shots, which was really cool. Of the zombies like it's we. It kind of got weird because it's like it turned into zombies. It looked like, of course they're not zombies, but they are kind of like a genre of zombies, type of zombies. Those whole what are those? What are they called? The people who are infected? Do they have a name for them?
Cranks.
Oh, okay. So those are the cranks.
I said that before, but it's okay.
Huh. I thought that was okay. Never mind then. Anyways, yeah, those
Cranks.
things. There's a lot of
Uh,
shots of them like growling, and there's a light behind them, and they're just all blacked out with a light silhouetting them. Those are really cool shots. There's a lot of shots like that, which I actually did really enjoy. I agree. I think it's not as much as the shots that the critics were worried about. Like I think the movie wise, it looked amazing. All the VFX were really good too. I think what they might have not liked was just the whole story. Maybe I don't know. That they just might have not been a fan of the story, uh, which
I did see
I
another
don't know.
thing that goes, like, I don't, that went something like how Wicked was evil. I'm like, yeah, of course they are. Like, they purposely turned the lights on in that scene because they knew it irritated them.
Exactly. True. Yes.
Well,
Yes. Yes.
so
Yes.
why would you say they're not? Yes, they are.
Yeah. No, I agree. I
So I knew
agree.
they were standing there, and there was a bunch of them around.
Yeah. I know. It's the whole Wicked thing is actually so evil. At the end, you kind of sympathize with the main lady. What's her name?
Ava Page,
I don't.
Teresa.
Oh, Ava Page. Yes, yes, yes. Ava Page. You really sympathize with that lady running this whole thing, because at the end it does show that she really is here for the cure, and that's actually what she wants. But then you see the real, truly twisted guy. Of course, Ava's still evil. I mean, she did some really despicable things, but
I got some things to say about Jansen, and they are not nice.
but that the last guy, I can't remember his name either. The guy who ended up shooting Ava in the Death Cure.
Jansen,
That's his name. Okay, Jansen. He is truly evil. I mean, that is just straight up evil.
who,
Horrible
if you guys
person.
didn't know, his Littlefinger in Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow,
And
that's
he
cool.
always, whatever he's in, he plays the villain.
That's funny. Okay, hold on. That brings up something that I really want to talk about, which is so funny to me. And I need to find it. I need to find. Okay, right here. Okay, so you're gonna have to look it up yourself, because I don't really spend too much time editing these episodes, just straight up us talking. So I'm not gonna put anything on screen, but I want you to look it up as I talk about this. You too,
Wait,
McKenna. Um, so Fallout is a series that just came out on Amazon Prime. And I could sit here and talk about it so much. I love that show so much. If you have not seen Fallout, please check it out. It is actually such a great show. It's not like the whole Halo situation where they adapted the game horribly and it's just such a bad show and they actually canceled it. I just learned, which is sad. I mean, not sad. It doesn't matter. But Fallout is amazing, and season 2 is in the works right now. Please check it out. But anyways, for those of you who don't know, Fallout is a game that takes place in a post-apocalyptic scenario where the world is in a nuclear fallout after the Cold War. There was bombs that were deployed, and the entire world got destroyed, and everybody is either underground, above ground trying to survive, and then there's stuff called ghouls. That's the zombies of the universe. They call them ghouls. Those are the half dead, half alive beings that are kind of mutated monsters. So Walton Goggins is the actor who plays the main villain in the Fallout show. You're gonna have to look it up. The main villain, who is Cooper. Cooper, what's his last name? Uh,
it's saying Howard.
Cooper Howard, yes. He is the main villain of the show. And do you see pictures of him right now with no nose or anything?
Um, hold on. Oh, Voldemort. I'm sorry.
Baltimore.
Yes.
You see it? Yeah. So look at that character. That's the main villain of Fallout. And he plays a character without a nose, very messed up, half dead, half alive. In the Death Cure,
Oh,
he
no.
also plays a character
Oh, is he?
called Lawrence. And if you look up Lawrence, the Death Cure,
There's no way.
he plays a character that doesn't have a nose. And he is half dead, half alive. It is the funniest parallel ever. It's so
I'm in shock.
incredible. Here, okay, I have it here. I'm going to put it on screen, but it's very low quality for you guys to see. There is him in Fallout, and here is him in the Death Cure. He plays two characters without a nose.
I didn't realize that.
Isn't that so incredible? By the way, I just got to say, Walton Goggins is an incredible actor. He is very underrated, and he does an incredible job in every role he's in. But he just got
That's
unlucky
so insane.
and got two characters without a nose. And as soon as I saw it while watching the Maze Runner, like the Death Cure, I was like, oh my god, is that who I think it is? And does he have a nose? Of course he doesn't. It's so funny. It's so
The
funny.
the first thing you ask, does he have a nose?
Does he have a nose? Nope, he doesn't. It's great.
I did not know
It's
that.
so
That is
great.
insane.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? It's so great. I love that.
Wow.
But yeah, that's I noticed that funny little parallel with that actor. I thought that was pretty neat. But yeah,
I said Voldemort.
Voldemort. So yeah, what do you like about the movies, Miguel? What are some key components about the Maze Runner that makes it so likable for you?
Like I said before, I really do like the creativity and choice of shots and the cinematography that immerses you into the film. I think a little more within the first and third film. The second film, not so much. The second film was a little dry and it went a little slow. So
Okay.
those are a bit contradicting there, but uh, that's just what I think of this whole series, like as a whole. It had great cinematography and it had great creative choice of shots. And also, one thing I did forget to mention that I do also like is the song choices within some scenes. One, it's either funny or it really fits.
Yeah, I agree. I
Like
agree.
Walking After Midnight, let me play them my favorite song.
My favorite
And then
song.
everything blows up.
Yeah, that's a great scene. I did like that. That was cool. That was really cool. Yeah. I love when movies incorporate like songs into a very epic movie, like a very epic scene, and it's like a big action scene, but it's just like a kind of happy song that's playing in the background. It's always a great thing. I love when movies do that. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but in we're talking about that scene in the Scorch Trials that it's really cool. I like that a lot. Um, but yeah, I agree. I do agree. For me, what I like and dislike, um, I like how it stays true to its name. That's a weird one, but all of the movies are very accurately named. Maze Runner, obvious, and it has a deeper meaning because it's of course it's a guy who's running through a maze. That's why it's the Maze Runner. But the whole story also has like they split up into groups in the Glade, and there's people called runners, and they run through the maze. So of course the Maze Runner, it all fits perfectly. I also like to mention how in every single movie there is a chase scene. Like there is like a scene where they are running for their life, and it's a really cool like shot where they're following them as they run. You could tell that they're very familiar with it because of the sheer amount of times they did it across all three movies. I love that. They definitely stay true to their name, which I appreciate, and there are a lot of running in that.
That
Oh,
was
it's so
another thing
funny.
I saw, and it was really fun. I actually just saw it today, by the way.
Oh
And
yeah.
I feel like a bunch of like my For You pages, especially if it's something we're going to talk about later in the day, it just pops up. Um,
It's
but it
convenient.
was when they were doing one of the running scenes. They were actually running in front of a green screen, and then Thomas just goes, and I'm not talking about Dylan. I'm talking about Thomas, who plays Newt. He just,
Yeah, yeah. Just walks off.
nope.
Wow. That's really funny.
As Dylan is yelling at them to just like keep going, let's go, come on.
That's
No,
great. Oh my god. Nope. No. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Out of all the things that they do great in these movies, they do the running scenes really, really well, and it's an action-packed sequence. We'll talk about favorite scenes after because I have a couple I can mention, but
I have
for
a
one,
couple lines I can
I
mention
like
here.
that.
I just
Yeah,
need to,
yeah, it's
and
okay.
I have a lot, so bear with
Yeah,
me.
yeah. No, you're fine. My favorite, another thing that I really like about the Maze Runner movies is the whole mystery behind it all. I really like movies that present the information, like they not present the information. They do the exact opposite actually. They don't give you any information, so they throw you right into it. What there's like a plot. There's a definition for that. What is that? What do you call movies that uh, throw you into the story without any explanation? Let's see. Little a little education in film. Um, so I guess it's just. I guess that's just. Yeah, I think it's just okay. An expedient. Okay. Okay. Wait, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Um. No, I guess there's not a name. Never mind. Um. But I get that's just what you want to do. That's called a good exposition, where you don't explain the story. Of course, it's not explaining. You want to show, and of course, you see it being shown throughout the entire series. When they kill the first, oh, there's so many names. When they kill the first, what is the monsters? What is the monsters in the maze?
Griever.
When they kill the first Griever in the movie, you see them take out that that thing in it, and it says Wicked on it. That's your first instance of Wicked, and it's cool because you are not told about Wicked first. You are shown Wicked first. I just love movies like that, and you naturally figure out the story as you move along. You figure out the behind the scenes, kind of like another series, a series of unfortunate events. Is a great both book, movie, and TV show. And the
I
great
have
thing,
not watched that in so long.
if I know you haven't seen it, I know you've seen the movie. I know you said that,
No,
and
I've seen the show too.
you've seen the show. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Yeah, but I
show,
haven't watched it in such a long time.
yeah, the show is one of my favorite things ever. I've seen it. I think I've seen the entire thing like 3 times now, and my favorite thing about the show is that you don't. There's so much mystery in it, and you don't figure it out until you go along. It's great. They pull you in with that gimmick of an idea, like the Maze Runner. They pull you in with the idea, oh, it's a bunch of people stuck in a maze. But then you slowly get invested, and then you want to figure out what's the true meaning behind it all. And that's how they keep you hooked. That's how they keep you moving along. That's what any good dystopian movie is about. Same thing for the Hunger Games. They pull you in with this basic plot that there's a bunch of people fighting for their lives inside of this huge arena, but then you figure out the true reason behind why all this is happening, stuff like that. It's cool. It's really cool. Movies do it that way. But that's what I like
Especially if
about it.
you've seen the newest one, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, that goes into the president when he's young,
Yes,
is
yes,
how it all got started as
yeah,
well. So
yeah.
that
That
was
was
an
that was a
interesting
good
thing to
movie.
see.
Yeah, I like that movie. That was pretty cool. But dislikes. It's another one of those scenarios where it's just I don't really have anything to say about the series. There was of course a lot of parts of the movie where, yeah, I guess not movie, but parts of the series where the movies just felt it just wasn't good. It just simply wasn't good. Sometimes they just had parts that felt cheesy or just didn't really feel like it fit in, felt unnecessary, parts like that. And that's just straight up preference. But other than that, the movies were really enjoyable, fun to watch. It was cool to sit through them again, cool to experience them again. But yeah, that's my opinions on the movies as a whole.
So we are back, uh, back from black.
Back from Black. That's wow. Back from Black.
Love that song, by the way. Uh,
Yeah.
and then we are going to be talking about our favorite scenes and lines. I have quite a bit, uh, because I really do love these movies. And the books are different. We're not talking about those. This is not a book
Honestly,
podcast.
wait, hold. Actually, honestly, because you brought it up, and there's no other time we could really talk about it. I just want to ask real quick: are the books like drastically different from the movies?
They're not like drastically different. It's like any book is, that there's scenes that there's not in the movies, and it's longer, of course. Some lines are variations within the type of books,
Yeah.
especially that scene initially in the first one where they're at the keeper meeting, and then he goes, "What do you think, Minho?" Well, I think we should make him a runner. blah blah blah. That whole thing's a little bit different as well. I don't know if I can find it specifically in the book while it's sitting here right now because I don't know exactly what chapter it's in.
Yeah,
But
no, that's fine. That's fine. Okay,
um,
that's interesting though. That is. I was watching like before we did this. I was watching like a story explanation and stuff, but they were talking about the book's story, and it was interesting because I noticed that when you got to everything seemed to be the exact same story wise, but when they got to the end of the Scorch Trials and the beginning of the Death Cure, it was completely different. Different. It was completely different in the books. Like they had a completely different scenario in the books because at the end of the Scorch Trials in the movie, they are all together and they're like they're trying to make like they're all free from Wicked and stuff. But it feels like I think they said it in the books they end up being captured by Wicked and I don't know, it was weird, it was interesting. I don't know.
yeah, but it's there's another thing that's different is in the Death Cure's Newt's death scene where he's talking with Thomas and he's trying to save him and he's telling him to kill him. He goes, I can't do it. I can't. And kill me, I'll kill you. Kill me, do it. And then at the end of it, it goes, uh, do it before I become one of them. Kill me. Then Newt's eyes cleared as if he gained one last trembling gasp of sanity, and his voice softened. Please, Tommy, please. With his heart falling into black abyss, Thomas pulled the trigger.
Oh
Is
yeah,
what
that is
this
different.
describes it as. I know exactly what paints that song because that made me sob. And it's
Yeah,
also that's the end of a chapter,
yeah.
by the way.
Wow, that's the end of a chapter. That sucks. Um, Dang.
That
Well,
sucks.
that's cool. That's cool.
All you can muster out. That sucks.
That sucks. All right. Yeah, that's no that. It's just always interesting when you adapt a book in a movie.
Right.
It's
As obviously there's stuff you keep and stuff you have to cut out.
right. The only time because I don't read much. People, I'm not gonna lie. McKenna reads a lot, which I think is a great thing. Never stop doing that. I just personally don't. But there's one series that I actually read the book on and watched the movie on. I don't think we're gonna do an episode on it because we've both seen it and I've seen it multiple times. So there's really no point. But the movie Ready Player One. Actually,
I
have
have
you seen
not
it?
seen that.
You have
Nope,
not seen
nope.
it. I forgot about that. Yeah. Never mind. We might do an episode on it. But I'll say it right now. Okay. The Maze Runner. Ready Player One. I read the book, and then I saw the movie. The book is super different from the movie. It's crazy. Like the entire thing is different. And again, if we do an episode, I'll explain it. But it's always interesting because sometimes you really have to completely change the story for the movie, and it's always an interesting thing when they do that. But yeah, I was just curious about that because you never know. It's cool.
There's a lot of deep lore that goes into this entire series,
Oh yeah, I
which we're
bet.
not going to get into, but
Yeah. There's a huge story behind this all. I still don't fully understand the entire story. Off the top of my mind, I would have to look back and remind myself. But yeah, it's crazy. It's cool. I like when stories have a lot of story in them. It's pretty neat. But all right.
because there is also
Oh yeah.
this is
Oh,
another one
she's
I
gone.
read. It's a small novel off of this series. It's not incorporated in the movies at all, but Crank Palace, which
Oh
is all
okay.
about Newt's life as a crank and after how he
What?
goes through that.
That's interesting. Wow.
Because there's a part in the Death Cure where he gets like uh goes off the Berg, which is like the ship they have and stuff, and then it kind of ties into each other in a way. But
Wow.
there's a whole thing on that as well. Um,
Huh.
it is incredibly sad.
That's interesting. That's actually interesting. I didn't know that there was a whole story after that, after he got infected. Wow. That's cool. All right. Let's do some favorite scenes and lines. Take it away.
Finally, we
yeah,
kind of took a detour, but that's okay.
yeah. It's fine.
So I'm gonna be starting with the first movie, and then we can keep going, and then second, and then third,
Okay.
because I have quite a bit. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna try my best British accent here.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, we get to see a British accent. Okay.
For a second there, I thought you had the chops to be a runner till your face planted. It was great.
Oh, what is that from? That sounds
The
vaguely
first
familiar.
movie when Thomas was running away and
Oh
they
yeah,
chase
yeah,
him,
yeah.
and then he first
Yeah.
meets Newt, and that's what he tells him.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. That's really funny. Um yeah, that's good. That's good. What else?
The bonfire scene, I I loved. It was
The
great in the first
bonfire scene
movie
in the first movie. Yeah, that's a nice. Oh yeah, yeah, that's a cool scene. Yeah, I
when
like
he's
that.
telling him about the maze, which is actually the next thing. He goes, "That's the maze changing. It changes every night."
Yeah.
And he's
It's
asking like, "What is that?"
that was a cool like a cool, it's getting you into the story. It's cool. It makes it adds ominous, presence to the maze and stuff too, because they add a lot of background noise. Even like the monsters roaring at some parts, and I think that's really cool. It helps
Oh
make the
yeah,
whole thing
when Thomas
mysterious.
goes, "What in the world was that noise?" Gally goes, "And that, my friend, is a griever."
It's a griever, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that's a cool part. I like that a lot. Um,
Uh, they when they first go on their little what they call it in the books, field trip or expedition
yeah.
into the maze after they kill the griever, and it's pancakes between the wall, and Fry Pan
Oh yeah.
goes, "You mean besides your griever pancake?"
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's funny.
And they pull the thing out of the griever, as you said earlier,
Oh yeah, right.
when
Yeah,
we're
and
first getting
you
introduced to Wicked,
and you
and
see Wicked. Yeah, that's a cool scene. I really like that scene. Well, that
and
scene.
then this is a it's another Fry Pan line. When
Uh huh.
Teresa first wakes up, she's throwing the rocks, and he goes, "Is
Oh
this what all
yeah,
girls are like?"
yeah. Because it's funny because as far as they remember, they don't know what a girl really is because they can't remember anything before them waking up there. So it's actually a really fun scene.
Except
It's
their
like they're
names,
experiencing for the first time. Yeah, the only
obviously.
thing they remember is their names. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Um,
that's cool. That's pretty cool.
I know that if Albie were here, he would say the same thing. Get off your butt and finish what you've started. If we do nothing, Albie died for nothing, and I can't have that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what I have for the first one, the first
I
movie.
I do gotta add for my favorite scenes and lines that that whole that whole sequence of when Thomas goes into the maze for the first time, when God, what's their names? Gonna have a hard time remember their names. What's the scene where they're all surrounding the two guys, the two runners coming back? One of them is like has been stung, and the doors are slowly closing, and they're all shouting for them to come on, hurry up, hurry up. What are those two people in the maze still?
Minho and Albie.
Yes, Minho and Albie. Yes, and Minho's carrying Albie, and Thomas is like debating, and then all of a sudden bolts as the walls are closing. It doesn't end there. That entire sequence, like that entire night of them being in the maze, there's a bunch of claustrophobic scenes like that when the maze is slowly closing in on them. I love that so much. That's definitely my favorite parts in the movie. It's so cool.
Congratulations. You just killed
You
yourself.
just killed yourself. Yeah. And the scene where they end up killing the Griever is super super intense. I love that. Super close call.
Another thing with these movies is whenever Minho goes, "Don't look back," he instantly goes, "What?"
I know. Yeah, he says it a couple times. He's like, "Why'd you look back?" Yeah, and yeah, there's another part where they go to like kind of like the exit almost, and they find the blades, like the huge blade structures that keep spinning and closing.
Yeah.
When they go to that whole scene of them running from that is so crazy. That's a very intense scene. Very
And
very
when he
cool.
slams himself into me,
Yeah, 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 as he tries to cut through. Oh yeah.
they get separated with the blade walls closing too fast, and then he just goes boom.
Boom, right through it. Yeah, yeah, just barely makes it. Yeah. A lot of close calls in that movie. It's definitely an
It definitely
intense
makes you hold
ride.
your breath.
Yeah. It does. It does. It does. All right, but yeah, what's your favorite in Scorch Trials?
People in the mountains. Mountain people. That's your plan.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
I'm sorry. I love this character so much that
Which
it
one?
is insane. Newt, his lines,
Oh
they're
yeah,
just
yeah,
so,
yeah.
so sassy for whatever reason.
Yeah, Newt's a great character.
And also one of the greatest scenes, I think, in Scorch Trials that there ever is and ever will be.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that scene with the music, the walking after midnight scene where everything's exploding and then the happy music is playing and Jensen goes, "What the?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
what
yeah.
the?"
Yeah, I love that. That's
Is
funny.
the escape scene where he's running down the hall, he throws the gun, and then he slides under the door baseball style and then just gives him the
I was
finger.
going to mention that. Yeah, I was going to mention that. That has to be
You
my
have to.
favorite
It's one of the
scene.
greatest scenes in the series.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. It's such a close call. It's insane. It's so intense. I love that. I love that scene a lot. Uh, and I think there was like a behind the scenes for that scene too. I can't remember where I saw it, but
It's
it
that thing
was
where the card
crazy.
won't go through and then he breaks it.
Yes, I think it was that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Because the bloopers are also on the CDs on here.
Oh really? Oh, I didn't watch that.
Yeah. Like there's an option like after the movie when you go back to the play screen that you could watch the bloopers.
Oh, that's cool. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Deleted and extended scenes and
Gag reel. That's it.
gag reels. Yeah.
That's cool. That's
And
really
they
cool.
have a visual effects reel as well.
Oh wow. Yeah, the VFX in this movie were flawless. I'm not gonna lie, they were really good. I can't.
Impressive.
I really can't tell how they did the whole Maze Runner movie. I don't know how they did it because they interact with the walls so much, like carving into the walls, but then you see like the huge wall structures. Obviously, they didn't build the mazes. Like they can't have. There's no way. They have to be VFX. I didn't look into any VFX like behind the scenes for this movie. I'm gonna have to, but I really don't know how they did it. It was impressive work. It was really cool. Really, really cool.
And on to the final one.
Yes.
I'm going to have to say it again because Thomas does it yet again. When they're jumping out the window, they jump into the water, and then he goes, finger again.
Yep, and he does the middle finger again. It's such a great like rewarding scene because it's like it's what you want to do to them. It's like God, like leave us alone, and he actually does it. It's hilarious. I love that.
I also love the scene where he's the crank is locked up. He's in the room with Jansen, and he throws the rock at the glass, and he goes, "You missed, did I?"
Did I? And it breaks. That's a great scene.
I like, bye bye.
Yeah, that whole final sequence
Sorry,
of
you're
like
about
the
to get your
building.
guts eaten.
Yeah, being destroyed it's peak. It's great. Great stuff. Yeah.
And now those are the ones I remembered that I loved, but I have some on here as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, Gally, why are you helping us? I put a spear through your chest. No one's perfect.
No one's perfect. This is a good part to bring up the Will Poulter stuff. Yeah, his whole character. I really like Will Poulter. He's a great actor. I can't remember. Is he British or is he
No, I think he is
American?
British.
He is British.
Um,
He
hold
does
on.
an American accent in this movie, right? I can't remember either because it's
Yes,
hard
he
to remember.
does.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He
he's
does a
British.
great American
Originally.
accent. It's incredible. I think he does the same thing in other movies he's in. Midsummer is another movie he's in, which I think I mentioned on this podcast before, is a horror movie made by Ari Aster. He's in that movie as well, and he does an incredible American accent. It's insane. He's also in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I can't remember if he does an American or British accent in that movie. I
I
don't
don't
know.
remember.
I'm never
I
watching
mean,
that
I
movie
saw the
again.
movie, obviously, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't
I don't
remember.
because that
Yeah.
was the whole thing with like Rocket and
Yeah, oh god.
his
Yeah, I
origin
can't
story.
I can't watch that movie again. I seriously can't. I have it on right
I can't watch
here.
that again. That's so sad.
Dude, that movie is so devastating. It's
Again,
so sad.
when I tell you guys I sobbed,
Yeah, there's Will
yet
Poulter.
again.
Oh god. Yeah, this is one of the few movies that actually made me cry. I know it's a freaking superhero movie, and it's the third one in the series, but that's how good it was. It's so great. It's incredible. I don't know, but Will
While
Poulter, he's a
we're
great
on the
actor.
topic of Will Poulter here,
Yeah.
um, you obviously know he's in The Bear, and that
Yes.
he's
Yeah.
British in that because he's like originally British, but he did
Yeah.
such a great job in that. And then there's also my neighbor forgot that he was in We Are the Millers.
Oh yeah. He is. Yep. Yep. Yep.
And she texts me one day and she goes, "Do you know who this is?"
Yeah, that's
And
funny.
then I go, "Yeah." And then I state the actor's name and she goes, "Of course you would."
What? Wait. He's in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
Uh-uh.
Apparently he is.
Where?
Um, what? Is this just a Google error? Yeah, I think that's just an error for Google. That should not be there. Because it says that he's in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and that's not right.
I don't see that because yours might be
That's weird. Why is he
going
there?
a little bit crazy here. Because I know
Maze Runner. Yeah, that's. What the heck? He's in the Chronicles of Narnia. Never seen those movies.
neither have I.
Maybe that's one we could do in the future, because I've heard a lot about it. He's also in the Blackbeard Bandersnatch. That's actually where I think one of the first that I recognized him in, where I started to learn who he was in Black Mirror Bandersnatch, which is the weirdest movie I've ever seen. But it's not a movie. It's more it's a game. It's strange. It's that Netflix game thing that you can do, like the interactive stuff. Um,
Uh,
and it's one of those. It's pretty cool though. Very interesting concept. But yeah, he's a great actor. He's in a lot of really cool stuff, uh, and I love his work. Really great guy too. He looks. It's crazy how he does an American accent. It's insane. I wonder why they made him American, because Newt is British. So I
I
don't
know
know.
that's something that okay because everyone is American except for Newt.
Yeah, Newt is British, which is strange. I don't know why they did that. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's a weird point.
That's something I'm
There's
gonna have to look into.
some
But
interesting lore point there, I'm sure, but yeah,
because they didn't care to pay him enough to do an American accent.
I guess so. Yeah, yeah, they they just didn't mind him being British. I guess I don't know. I mean, it
Like
doesn't take away from the story
when
at all, but
when Gally is watching the trio jump from the last floor of the building, you guys are nuts.
yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's a funny scene.
I love it so much. Like the witty lines and stuff. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Let's. I'm not gonna fade to black or anything. Let's straight up search trivia for Maze Runner. Um,
Okay.
what is it? IMDb. Yeah, yeah. I saw one thing I do remember is that Dylan O'Brien. Oh God, I don't want to say false information, but I might be saying it here. I saw an interview with them that Dylan O'Brien was when he went to audition for the Maze Runner movie. He was still on Teen Wolf. Um, I think.
I He might have still been because wait,
I can't remember.
when
It came out in 2014. The Maze Runner
yeah,
did.
that's I know when the Maze Runner came out. That's not what I'm looking up.
So auditions were probably 2013.
Yeah, okay. He probably still was because the last season premiered on in 2016 of Teen Wolf. So he
Hmm.
probably was still with them.
He was
Yeah,
then, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's cool. Let's look at some trivia.
I'm trying to find trivia for this, some of them. But yeah, fun fact: he
Um,
was still with Teen Wolf, which is one of his original roles as Styles Stilinski. Amazing. Another sarcastic side of Dylan O'Brien, and extremely funny.
yeah, I've
And I
never
just keep
seen.
remembering the line, like, "What the hell do you have a bat? I thought
I
you were a predator."
Yeah, McKenna is a huge fan of the Teen Wolf series, but yeah, I've never seen it. Never seen it.
Uh, so much so that if I go over here,
Oh boy. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's cool.
that's not all.
Oh,
This one over here is courtesy of Ava. After watching her fish,
yeah, I
which
think I
is,
know
I
what
don't even
you're.
know if the fish is dead now or not, but
Yes, yeah, that's incredible.
the
That's really
pilot
cool,
script signed.
and that's really cool. That's awesome memorabilia. That's really cool.
But
Really,
anyway,
really cool.
back to what we were talking about.
Oh,
Trivia.
yeah, I have an interesting one. Um, so what?
Oh,
Oh. Yeah, are you looking at the Maze Runner trivia page on IMDb?
for the last movie,
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I did not know this.
Go ahead.
But I'm going to ask this in question form.
Okay. Hmm.
Did the actor write the letter on his own? And did the director take it, yes or no?
Uh, yes, the actor wrote the letter on his own, and the director ended up taking that one.
Yep.
Really? So Newt's letter
Because it
was
says,
written by Thomas?
yeah, it goes Thomas Birdie Sangster wrote Newt's letter on his own, and director Wes Ball took it as a souvenir from the set.
Oh, what? That's
I
cool.
know. I didn't see that. Like,
Wow. I didn't know he wrote it. That's cool. That's really cool. Wow. That shows how much they cared about the role and their dedication to this series.
I
That's neat.
didn't know that either.
Here, let me say this
There's another
part.
one. Go ahead, though.
Um, so Chuck, the actor who played Chuck, this is for the first movie, to get that role, the actor Blake Cooper, who played Chuck, he continuously campaigned for an audition on Twitter. He would send the director, Wes Ball, a tweet constantly, tweet after tweet after tweet, stating that he was made for the role. And Wes Ball eventually relented and told Cooper to send his audition to the casting director, who stated that Cooper was perfect for Chuck. That's that's really funny. That's great. Dedication. Dedication. Yeah, Chuck was a great character. It's so sad that he died so early on. But when you think about it, it's like, what would Chuck have done if he still lived in the later movies? Like, I felt like his
I
story
guess
was
he maybe
perfectly
like would have
summed up.
found his parents at some point, but
True, yeah, it would have been a whole thing finding his parents. But I think his death was warranted. His story was complete there, but it was definitely sad. It was
did
definitely
you
sad.
see there was a video of a panel and it was a Maze Runner panel and they were asking what was the hardest scene to film and Dylan goes, uh Chuck's death. Oh no. And then he goes, "No, someone's death. I'm going to get yelled at."
He spoiled it?
Yeah.
No way. I did not know that. I did not know
And he
that.
just puts his head in his hands like, "Oh, I'm going to get yelled
Oh
at."
God, he's gonna get yelled at big time. Wow, I didn't know he spoiled it before the movie came out. Wow, Chuck's death.
But
Dang.
here's something I didn't know. There's a scene where Teresa and Ava are presenting their data to board members at Wicked. One member, the only one to not speak a word, is none other than the author of the book series, James Dashner.
Oh, he made a cameo? I didn't know that.
Apparently. Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool. Huh. I did not know that. That's neat. I like when cameos like that. We talked about that in the first season of this podcast with
Quentin
directors.
Tarantino.
Yeah, but I didn't know. I wouldn't expect like writers to do that. No, but it has happened before in the if you go
Twilight
to
series has
the
happened before.
in Twilight, really? Oh, that's cool. There's also um okay. There's also what is it? Goosebumps. The Goosebumps movie with Jack Black. Not Jack Black. Wait. Who's the actor? Wait. Who plays in the Goosebumps movie? It's been so long since I've seen it.
I don't know, but I know who the author of the stuff is.
Hold on. Goosebumps 2015. The 2015 movie. The 2015 Goosebumps movie. With oh yeah, it's Jack Black. He plays R.L. Stein. Yeah. That movie, R.L. Stein makes a cameo in the movie, which is pretty cool. He plays one of the teachers in the school. So I didn't know there was like a whole genre of writer cameos, which is pretty neat. I like that. That's cool. Oh,
I'm sorry. This
go
is
ahead.
something that's still relevant. It's from the books, but it's so freaking funny.
Okay.
So, the Gladers is what the big group of people who was stuck in the maze. That's what they call themselves. They called they called Jansen the Rat Man in the book.
The Rat Man.
Which we don't know his real name until the Death Cure book, but they never call him that in the films. Ever.
What the rat the Rat Man. Interesting. Huh. Um. Yeah. So okay, this is funny. We were talking about this, but in the IMDb trivia page, it says that of the largely British cast, only Thomas Brody Sangster who plays Newt, got to keep his accent. Wait, who else is British?
Will Poulter.
I know, other than Will Poulter.
Uh,
Apparently, there's more British actors in the first Maze Runner movie.
let's see here.
Let's see. Ter- Teresa
I
isn't
think she
British.
is. She might be.
Yes, she
Yeah,
is.
Brazilian too.
Oh my god. How I did not know she was British.
Dylan's American, obviously, so that's irrelevant.
Ki Hong Lee
Uh,
is not. He's American. Walton Goggins, I know he is. Oh, I'm looking at the different one. Never mind. I know he's American though.
is he?
That's crazy.
No, he's
Yeah,
American.
American. So that's crazy though. There is a lot of British actors that are doing an American accent. I didn't know, dude. I didn't know she was doing one as well. All right, one more fun fact each. Go ahead.
Hold on. I lost it.
It's okay.
Give me 2 seconds. I want to switch to my movies because I've been on the last one. But I lost it. So where I'm just it's not going. Okay. All right. This is for the first movie. We're going all the way back to the beginning. The production had to hire snake wranglers to make sure the areas where they were filming were snake free before filming, because the wranglers were found 25 venomous snakes. The biggest one they found was a 5-foot rattlesnake.
Oh my god. Holy cow. Wow. My fun fact is I have a couple, so here I'm just gonna rapid fire them. Sorry, my dog's really loud. Wake up, Joe.
Which
Um,
one, Remy?
the pug. Thomas Brody Sangster put a rock in his shoe so
I
that
know
he would
that.
limp.
Yeah, that had to hurt.
That's really crazy. That's dedication. That's really cool.
That had
Um,
to hurt.
so it's interesting. It's interesting to think about. like logic-wise for the story, this will be the last one. Thomas Brody Sangster, again, who played Newt, he stated in an interview that he thought that the maze would have been easily solved if the Gladers had simply bothered to construct a ladder. They built literal houses, but they never thought to build a ladder to go to the top of the maze and just walk across. They mentioned in the movie, why don't they just climb to the top? But they only mention about the moss that is hanging off of the, the maze. And they're like, oh, it doesn't reach all the way to the top. Well, build a ladder. You have all these materials, you could build a ladder.
I'm actually going to bring up a deleted scene because you brought up the rock in the shoe.
Okay.
Where Newt states why he has his limp is when he was younger, when he first got to the maze, he didn't know where he was, and he was very scared. He decided one day to climb to the highest wall in the maze and jump off. It was a suicide attempt.
Interesting.
Because he didn't want to be there anymore, causing... He was an ex-runner, actually. And didn't originally work in the gardens. But he obviously can't run anymore because of his limp. Which is how he got it, was jumping off the maze wall.
Wow, why did they take that out? That's weird. Huh. That's some important context to a very obvious character trait. Wow. That's cool. That's really cool. Interesting. Alright. Well, yeah, that's some fun facts. I definitely didn't know that. I guess not so fun, but...
Well, that was a bit of
fact.
a somber note, but it's important to the story.
It is. It is.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Weekly Cinema. You can digitally buy this movie on Prime or any other platform. Obviously, you'd have to rent or buy it, or of course, you could own it physically like we do. But you can follow us on Spotify, which would help the podcast immensely. Spread a good word.
Yes,
we are also on our YouTube channel, Weekly Cinema. And we do post weekly, or at least try to.
Yeah.
Next week, we'll be doing...
The Blues Brothers. Yeah. We're actually going to be watching that movie. 2 hours from now, we're going to leave to watch that movie, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it's... Yeah, we're... sorry, I was getting texted about it. Yeah, we're going to be watching The Blues Brothers together, actually. So, it's going to be another Wonka scenario where we're actually going to be seeing the movie together. But we'll try our best to save the debate for this podcast next week. So, yeah, be sure to tune in.
That is a rare thing to happen, is that we watch a movie.
It is. Every now and then that happens, though, yeah. We'll try and do that once a season, I guess. At least.
Once a season.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you guys tuned in for our discussion on The Maze Runner. Hope you enjoyed. It's a great series. We've been wanting to do this since the beginning of this podcast, actually, because this has always been McKenna's favorite. And, it's been I love the movies too, so I'm glad we did it. But yeah, we have never seen The Blues Brothers, so we're back to our original concept. We've never seen it. It's only one movie. We're going to watch it, again, 2 hours from now. And we'll be back next week to talk about it. So, yeah. Thank you guys.
Next time.
Yeah, we'll see you all next time. Thank you for tuning in. And as said, follow us, rate us, the whole shebang. But have a great weekend. We will see you all next week. Goodbye.
And of course, you guys could also...
Yeah?
And I just thought about this.
Okay.
They could comment movies down below they want us to talk about.
Yes. Since we're having a lot more interactive audience, which we are not used to, that's for sure. Thank you guys, everybody who is liking and commenting. We read the comments, that's for sure, and we appreciate your support, so thank you. But if you have any movies you want us to see, we'll see if we haven't seen it already. If we have, then it's not counted. But if you have a movie you want us to talk about, just comment down below. We'll see if it's possible, and if it is, we'll add it to the list. We have a few more weeks. I think we actually have one more full month of this season before it's over. So I think that gives us 4 or 5 more solid episodes before we have to end this season. But we'll see. We'll plan that down the road. But for now, we have a lot down the road. I don't know where that thumbs up came from. That's pretty cool. Did you see that?
No, what?
Wait, how did you do that?
I was just playing with this.
Yeah, how did you do that? Wait, I'm not going crazy, guys. Did you see that? Yeah, what? What is that? Do you see that? What
What?
is that?
I was
Do you
just
not
like,
see it? You don't see
no.
it.
I was playing with this.
Okay, you're gonna have to watch the podcast episode to see what I'm talking about. Because there's a bubble and there's like a thumbs up that's appearing on your screen. I don't know what's happening. Alright, anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you all next week. We're not insane, I promise. Goodbye, everyone.